Welcome everybody to the fifth round of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo from Vallelunga. This is race 2 here at the Autodromo Vallelunga Pietro Taruffi. And such is the timetable, we are able to split our grid. We've seen race 1 this morning from the Super Trofeos, the AMs and the Lamborghini Cups racing separately to the Pros and the Pro-Ams, and therefore we go again this afternoon with our second race. Now remember, usually we would have race 1 on, let's say, a Saturday and race 2 on a Sunday. Well, everything is being condensed into one action-packed day. Hardly time to have yourself an espresso. The weather is a lot better than we were experiencing this morning. We're up to 20 degrees track temperature. That's double what we had in the early part of the day. And these guys ended up going out onto a circuit that was still damp. It was a bit of a sketchy first couple of laps for the Lamborghini Cup and the AM competitors. We all got through pretty safely and without too many issues. And so now we can refocus ourselves on our second encounter. It will be Roy Meyerhouse who will start on the pole position, showing that car this weekend. A new entry, and alongside him another new entry, Julien Piget and Alban Veruti. Both those two new to the championship this weekend, and both really starring in our first race this morning. That, though, is the winner of this morning's race. Randazzo and Anapoli not even really standing on the podium before this morning. They get their first win of the year. They vault themselves up through the championship standings, and it'll be Pier Giacomo who will start the car this afternoon. Ibrahim Badaway finished on the road in second position, but was given a 10-second penalty and therefore ended up in, I think, 6th it was for Badaway, the Egyptian. Very, very strong though. A local team that have tested here, Lamborghini Roma by DL Racing. And if it wasn't for that contact with Veruti going through Curva Grande, they both went off the circuit. They both had a huge moment, but both continued. By the way, I think would have found himself right at the sharp end of the AM Championship. As it happens, drops to 6th. Now behind them is the number 8 machine of the Privatellios. Race 1, they spent languishing at the tail of the field, but with Donovan qualifying for race 2, they start in 5th position. Watch out for the father and son pairing, with Renard Coupens, the number 2 machine, alongside him. Renard was very fast in race 1 for Boots and VDS. Just trying to see if we've got all of our cars on the grid. I wonder whether we might be missing a car that should be in 8th, or maybe they're just the way that they're lined up is a bit not quite uniform. Julien Piget there. A very strong race 1. And great to see these newcomers coming into the championship and instantly being at the sharp end of the field. Now, Roy Meyerhouse is a silver in GT4 racing. So kind of downgraded, let's say, this round to find himself on the pole position. It was a very strong qualifying. Veruti is an AM, has been racing in GT4 as an AM, won the AM Cup in fact, and in qualifying was less than 1/10 of a second off Roy Meyerhouse. Here is the starting grid then. Roy Mehrhouse and Alban Veruti will be on the front row. Randazzo, our race 1 winner, in third with Egyptian Ibrahim Badawi alongside. Privitello and Coupons on row 3, with Adrian Lewandowski in 7th position and Gabriel Rendoni 8th. Harmson, and then your Lamborghini Cup winner from race 1, Krebs in 10th position, but Donatello's up, Privitello is up there in this race. Maciek 11th, and then we fold down outside the top 10. Hernandez Ortega, Claude-Yves Gosselin, Kenneth Lintz, Kieron Lee down in 16th position, Nigel Bailly, Libor Dvorak, and then Jason Keats, Oliver Freimut, and Serge Doms, who, those 2 cars were 2 cars that retired out of the first race. I wonder whether we have all those cars on the grid for this one. Let the last couple of cars at the back of the field go through just to make sure we can tick all the boxes. There's Kieron Lee coming through shot. And Serge Doms is there, the number 17. So all the cars are in position. That shot really good to show just how tight that part of the circuit is. And you get the drone shot that we're coming next week for our World Finals. Remember, we are staying here for round 6 of the championship, not just for Asia, sorry, not just for Europe, but for Asia, and also for the Americans, who will come and join us. They will have their last round of the championship here, and then we'll have the World Finals over the weekend. So, much like we had in race 1, a second safety car lap for our AM and Lamborghini Cup competitors. Didn't see that for the Pro and Pro-Ams. But this just gives the drivers a little bit more opportunity for confidence, get everything up to temperature, feel how the car feels. The timer does start in this first reconnaissance lap, so we are effectively under race conditions. Roy Mehrhouse, GT4 European and French champion back in 2022, has been racing in GT3 for Boots and VDS. And starts on the pole position. American-Israeli driver, dual nationality, based out of America. I think this will be his first experience of a Lamborghini Super Trofeo, having joined Boots and VDS this year for the European Cup. Cars making their way through the final sector of this lap. The original 1951 layout used to be raced in the opposite direction. But it hasn't changed, and it's just as difficult and narrow. Roy Mehrhouse to the left-hand side. Veruti to his right. Randazzo and Badawi on row 2. And then Privitello and Coupons on row 3. Everybody looks well bunched, waiting for the green light. It comes on pretty early this time. Badawi puts himself into the center of the circuit, trying to defend from Coupons behind, but Mehrhouse is going to lead. He does, from Veruti in second position. Then it is Randazzo. Oh, and a spin in the middle of the pack! Oh, well done to the guys at the back for not causing an absolutely huge accident there. That was Maciek who has gone around. And there's been a change. No, there hasn't. I thought there was a change for the lead. Verruti right on the tail of Mehrhouse through Chimney 1 and 2. I think Mehrhouse may have had a little error through there. Randazzo up into second position. Now, is that because they've been shown yellow flags? Yes, it is. I think there was a change just because of the reaction to the yellow flags. And they'll need to sort themselves back out again. But that number 32... Matic going around and unfortunately collecting. Actually, it looks like they might have got going again. Just trying to work out from from the live timing. Serge Doms is still missing, and Dvorček. Now Dvorček is moving. It was the 69 that made contact. Bucevicius, our Lithuanian from the RD Signs team, very unlucky. But for the Lamborghini Cup Championship, that is really bad news for the number 32 car. Came into the day with Biglieri right at the sharp end. And let's see what happened here. Just got a slide on through, the rear end broke away. And look at the car, all the cars behind, managing to avoid that. Fantastic. Because it could have been huge, it could have been very nasty. And then down into Chimney. Verruti tries to go all the way around the outside, so Mehrhouse must have been a little bit nervous. Do we have more contact further back? Not going to see. What a star. Say the guys down there in the pit garages. So safety car is just going to make sure they can get those guys out of the gravel without too much drama, especially when you've got everybody bunched together. You can breathe a little sigh of relief and wind away the minutes. It's a very popular circuit here. All the locals seeming to support and come out to Vallelunga. I imagine they don't get an opportunity to see the kind of level of motorsport that they're being offered this weekend and into next weekend as well by Super Trofeo. And you know, you can guarantee so many fans of Lamborghini around the area. The tractor's needing to tow 2 cars away, so it may not be the work of a moment. So everybody now under safety car conditions. Keeping everything nice and warm. for Julien Piget. Some Angry Birds to play on his phone whilst we wait. And coming into today anyway, that 32 car of Peter Matic of Benaldi Motorsport was our championship leader. So to end up in the gravel, they had a good healthy lead coming into today, and I say coming into today rather than coming into this race, because this morning obviously hasn't yet been completely added to the points tally, but a no score will highly damage their championship. There is only one other car that has scored in every round, and that is the Privatellios, who lead the Lamborghini Cup in 7th position right now. Krebs is in 9th after his race 1 win, and then it's Hernandez Ortega, the number 77, in 3rd position. Now, our live tracking is suggesting that the number 22 of Dvorček, Libor Dvorček of the Czech Republic, is still not on the tail of our safety car, which seems a little bit strange. Maybe live timing just needs to catch up a little bit. But we did only lose 2 cars, and that was Matic and Butukavicius from Lithuania. Serge Doms is still circulating in 18th, but Dvorček is off the tail of the group. And we still haven't removed the 32 car. Obviously only one tractor down there. You can see how beautiful and open this area is, as the GT3 Poland team look on. Hello, hello. They've actually got Robert Kubica's Lamborghini Super Trofeo car sitting in their awning. I haven't yet seen the entry list for the World Finals, but there's always the odd superstar that pops up. Nelson Piquet Jr., you may remember, taking victory last year in the Lamborghini World Finals, just came in and as an ex-Formula 1 driver, as an ex-everything driver really, as a Formula E champion, won and left. So you do sometimes see these superstars. There's Kieron Lee, racing with Jean-Francois Bruno. Of course, there's also the Teams Championship to consider. It's a good old battle between Vincent Sospiri Racing, VSR, and Liepard. And the very obvious Oregon colours in 3rd spot. There's a look into the Iron Lynx garage. Iron Lynx responsible, of course, for the LMDH project. We should have a show car here for the World Finals next week. Let's have a look at the start once more. Badaway got a very good start, didn't he? Put himself right in the centre of the pack, but obviously decided to back out of it coming in here, and actually, yeah, then found himself on the outside line. And there's that spin once more. Dvorček very unlucky. Sorry, not Dvorček, but Tavicius very unlucky to collect him there. Everybody else doing such a great job to avoid the contact. Now, as we continue under safety car conditions, we are also still running the race, as it were. The second car now being removed by the tractor, but it won't be long before we open the pits. 7 minutes before the window opens. And so for these drivers, certainly drivers who have got faster teammates, they might not get very much racing in Mehrhaus Veruti. And a big gap to Randazzo. Pier Giacomo Randazzo sitting in third with Badaway behind him, then Coupens, and then Adrian Lendowski. And it's Adrian Lendowski racing for GT3 Poland alongside Holger Harmsen. It's the second car that they have in the AM category, so in this race. And then, of course, they've got another car in the Pro-Am category with Grosjek. So, safety car in this lap. Wake up, everybody. We are about to go racing once more. Dvorak is now at the tail of the field. The mobile phones are back out to record the restart. The lights are off on the safety car. It clears off and leaves Roy Mehrhaus at the head of the field. Mehrhaus, Veruti, Randazzo, Badaway, Coupens is your top five. Then there's a little gap to Donovan Privitello in that white machine in sixth positions. Round the final turn we go, across the line, green flag flies, and we're racing once more here in Vallelunga. Now, who's going to be brave through the Curva Grande for the first time? Have they got the grip? Mehrhaus has done a really good start. Everyone pretty equidistant here. No real big threats. Going to have to look further up the hill to see who's going to be diving down the inside into Germany 1. Nobody. Stays as is. Privitello leads the Lamborghini Cup there in 6th position. Krebs in 9th and Harmsen in 11th position. Look out for Holger Harmsen, because he's got, sorry, not Harmsen, Hernandez Ortega, I mean. There is Privitello, under pressure from Lewandowski. Different categories, so he should let him go. Adrian Lewandowski really putting the car on his nose to try and get past. Made it work, but then was a little bit too deep and loses the position again. But different categories here. Adrian Lewandowski wants to keep up with Coupens and the guys ahead, does not want to be held up by Donovan Privitello. And Privitello right now is a little bit of the cork in the bottle. Not too much of a problem if Privitello loses that spot. But ultimately he wants to create as much of a gap as possible through Roma. That completes another lap. On to lap 8 then. Here's Badaway and Coupens. Renaud Coupens' stint was so good in race 1. He looks around to see if he can get past Badaway. Badaway should know, though, and can be informed by his team that Coupens has to hand over to a second driver, whereas, of course, Badaway doesn't have a teammate. And that is kind of positive news, because Pierre Feligioni was not as fast as Coupens in race 1. Privitello holding on to 6th position from Lewandowski. Again, Coupens kind of has a half look down the inside, but can't find a way through. Meanwhile, Roy Mehrhaus is absolutely setting off into the distance, trying to get away. Leans hard on the accelerator. Here the engine cutting as the traction control works. It's magic. Lewandowski with Rindone behind. Gabriel Rindone is actually the bigger threat here to Lewandowski. If Lewandowski can't clear Privitello, then Gabriel Rindone will take advantage of that. Down through Curva Grande once more, heading down to the first real braking zone, and actually Lewandowski losing quite a lot of time through Curva Grande on that last attempt. Goes a little bit deep into Chimney 1, manages to recover. Kind of one of those corners where if you do go deep into one, you can just bring it back and get a better slingshot out of the second part of the corner. Takes him away from the pressure of Rindone. Meanwhile, Meerhouse leads. Verruti just 0.6 of a second down the road from him. Then there's a gap to Randazzo, sorry. By the way, 4th, Coupens 5th, Privitello 6th, Lewandowski. There is Verruti. It's a good time from Alban Verruti. 35.2. We saw some of our pros in the 34s. So quite a pace from Alban Verruti, the AM champion of GT4 this year. Also in France as well, I think, as well as Europe. Would have shared that title with Julien Piget if Piget had been able to do the middle part of the season. As Pierre Feligioni now gets himself ready to take over from Coupens. The pit window is open. We've already got Nigel Bailly in the pits to hand over to Wilfried Casabon. That's down for 13th position. Bailly brings his car in. Ooh, a little twitch there from Badaway. Trying to actually establish a little bit of a gap over Coupens on that last lap. We saw when he got into a swing of things how strong Badaway is, but with the safety car period as it has been, it's closed up the field, so that 3-second extra length in the pits that he will have to do because he doesn't have a teammate could well put him further down the pack than he ultimately would have wanted. Meerhouse now a 35.1. We are really getting into the realms of pro category times here. They're not going to be taking Meerhouse or Verruti out of those cars, although you would expect Piget to be faster than Verruti. Well, I would anyway. Into the pits comes Lewandowski. Sorry, Rindone. Now, he doesn't have a teammate, so he will come in, be stationary for 90, come in, stop, and leave the pits, and needs to be at pit lane exit after 93 seconds. Unlike those with 2 drivers that are 90 seconds. And the reason for that is to compensate for the comfort that those drivers with no teammate, basically, when they go back out onto circuit, they already know what the car feels like. They know what the tyres feels like. It will take a second driver a lap or two to get back onto the pace of where a single driver will be, and therefore they implement this extra 3 seconds in the pits, which makes a lot of sense. Meerhouse will hand over his car, and it'll be Elie Dubelli who takes over that Boutsen VDS machine. Verruti will have Piget to take over. Great work from Pier Giacomo Randazzo, because he is staying with our front two. Last lap, he matched the pace and actually went faster on this lap than the guys ahead of him. Nobody is as fast as Randazzo right now. Who's betting that this is his local circuit? Now, Gabriel Rindone doing his pit stop early, falls down to 16th position, but he'll be hoping that as everything shakes out ahead of him, he jumps the likes of Coupons, Privatello, Lewandowski. Those were the guys that were directly ahead of him, and maybe he felt as though he was being held up by. The question is, does he have clear track? I'm not sure he does. He's come out behind number 60, which is Randazzo, so he doesn't have clear track, but he is with fast cars around him, so he's not going to be held up. Donovan Privatello doing a fantastic job. Still at the head of the Lamborghini Cup. He will hand his car over to his father. They have a GT2 as well as Super Trofeo. And they share that at weekends. But it's Jürgen Krebs who's second in Lamborghini Cup. And it's Krebs who will be the driver looking to pass Luciano. There he is, for that lead in the Lamborghini Cup. We're in that period now, that period where lots of different... Oh, there's a car off in the background. That's a Boots and VDS machine. Now, who is around the start of the lap? It's quite difficult to tell from the front view. It's number 2, so it is Coupons. Renaud Coupons has made a mistake. And that was... He was fighting in 5th position, was he not? He drops down to 7th. Let's hear how much the traction control is working as they come through that incredibly tight hairpin. They stamp on the accelerator, and these Lamborghini Super Trofeo Huracan Evo 2s have got so much power. There's a lot of work that needs to be done by the computers to make sure that power is delivered to the circuit through the Hankook tyres correctly. Meyershouse leads Verruti by 1.1 now, just a slight growth in the gap. And actually, it's gone out. Wonder if they've got a little bit of traffic, because Randazzo's slow on this last lap and has dropped a good 2.5 back from Verruti. Into the pits comes Coupons. After that mistake, would have liked to have seen if we had another view of Coupons is off. Through the Curva Grande, I'd probably expect it not to be a small one. He was lucky that it wasn't this morning where the grass was so wet, he had no traction whatsoever. Now, Coupons was fighting with Rindone, so... But I think we would expect, considering he had that off, Rindone is going to gain a position once those pit stops have shaken out. We've got Ortega, Hernandez Ortega, and Dom's also in the pits. And interesting, isn't it, that Randazzo now has dropped into the clutches of Badaway after that slow lap. Here is that a puncture? That's a puncture right front for Coupons. Into the pits comes Randazzo. From 3rd position, had a 2.9 second advantage over Privatello. And there we go, changing the front right tyre because he had a puncture, and maybe that's why Coupons ended up off the circuit at turn 2. Off they go. Randazzo hands over to Anapoli, who had such a strong race one. Can they get themselves up ahead of the two new cars to this weekend's championship? Mehrhouse and Veruti, first showing. I'm sure they'll be here next weekend as well. Not long before the pits shut, so they are leaving it to the very last minute to come in. Mehrhouse, Veruti, Privitello, and also Linthut, who shares the Total Plan Racing Lamborghini with Mario Martellet. And now into the pits with just 48 seconds remaining is our leader. It's going to be a fascinating second half of this race. 20 minutes remaining. Veruti follows him in. Privitello will be the next one to come into the pits. Expect them also to, let's say, fall down the field. And live timing now taking its time to update itself as cars come in and out of the pits. Oh, a little mistake. Just one of those things. Need to turn the car off before you change driver. As a new team, got to remember these rules, and after 25 minutes out on circuit, the driver inside the car may not remember all the little rules. That's where team manager has to be on him. That's why you hear so often, when you get a chance to hear the team radio, some very obvious team radio calls, but they're not obvious when you're in the heat of battle. It's Veruti getting out, Piget jumping aboard. Waiting for the call. It hasn't compromised them. They've still had plenty of time. And they go back out onto circuit now. Was that the Boots and VDS ahead of them? Yes, it was. So no change, as you would expect, for our front two. But from Mehrhouse and Veruti, we now have Julien Piget aboard the 63. And we have Elie Dubelli aboard the 18. They are well clear of Badoué, the Egyptian in the 62. Oh, big wake-up moment from Julien Piget there. Leans on the rear end of the car, and it isn't where he thought it was. And that is what we're talking about. When those extra 3 seconds that the single drivers have to do in the pits, that is why. Because it takes time to understand where your car is at. And obviously, Piget thought it had more grip than it did. Mehrhouse, well, it's not Mehrhouse now. And still, Elie Dubelli needs to change his driver ID. Piget second, Badoué third, and Napoli in fourth position, just 0.7 of a second back. So actually, for third position, is tight. And we know how good a Napoli can be. Next car down the road, Lewandowski's handed over to Gregor Moljulski, sorry. And he is locked in a battle with Gabriel Rindoni, who really actually, doing that early pit stop hasn't helped him a lot, has it? Sixth position, 21.9 back. Yes, he's jumped Privitello, but it's kind of expected. Now, we are going to see on this lap or the next, I would expect a change of position for the Lamborghini Cup, because Privitello, Luciano now aboard the car, has Krebs down the road. How close? Let's have a look. Privitello comes over the line now, and Krebs is only 5.7 seconds back. So another lap, I think, and we'll see that change. There's our leader. There's second position. 3.5 is the gap between those two. And here's Luciano Privitello. Oh, he's got a drive-through penalty for overtaking under the safety car. Privitello. Well, he's about to lose the lead anyway, because there is Krebs behind. But Donovan Privitello, maybe he didn't realise he overtook under safety car. We saw plenty of people reacting at different times to the safety car call, but they didn't reverse the position. That's a huge error from Donovan. Maybe thought he got away with it. Race control have all eyes. I thought we were about to see a little change of position here, because that is Jürgen Krebs pushing on, but Krebs is going to be handed a healthy lead in Lamborghini Cup, because the 23 car is 20 seconds down the road now with Mario Martellet aboard. Well, that was easy. Race control will tell the teams that can tell the drivers on the radios, but also they will display a flag over the start finishing straight to say you have a drive-through penalty. So here's Julien Piget. He got to within 1.1 seconds of Meyerhouse, of Elie Dubelli, sorry. But that's gone back out to 2.2. So I wonder whether the that back marker that we've just passed, I think is Kurt Wagner. I wonder whether that's just slightly compromised them. There's the lap progress you can see. 2.2, then 3.7 it grew, then down to 1.4, but it's out to 2.2 now. Back down to 1.4. Julien Piget looks the stronger here. You would expect that, I suppose. The amount of driving we see from Julien. So much experience in racing to his name, Julien Piget. Took part in the Spa 24 Hours last year and the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Raced in GT4 Europe. So has done a huge amount of different things, as well as a stunt driver for his own driving, his own kind of agency, let's say. So racing absolutely in his blood. Here's a Napoli. Now with Rindone on his tail. This could be a change of position for fourth spot. Great pace from Gabriel Rindone on that last lap. Took a second and a half out of Napoli. Took a lot more out of Badaway. Badaway had a slow lap. I wonder whether he was caught up in traffic. And the lead of the race is very, very close. Just a 0.1 of a second between Dubelli and Piget. There's traffic, and that's the reason why Serge Doms has got in the way, and suddenly Elie Dubelli has Julien Piget right under his rear wing. There is Serge Doms, who's the one that's got in the way. It's slightly crooked looking front end to Serge Doms' car. Well, I wonder how much Elie Dubelli and Julien Piget know of each other. Both Frenchmen. Eli Dubelli's really been on and off in terms of racing. Did Super Trofeo last year, so at least has had 2 years worth of competition. But has been in and out of all kinds of different vehicles. And so surely has crossed paths with Julien Piget. And now starts to slightly extend the advantage once more. So without that traffic, maybe Dubelli has the answer on Julien Piget here.
My car is faster than the car.
Badaway just 4.2 back. So Badaway had a really good lap when Dubelli and Piget got caught up. See them in the background now in sunny conditions. But Badaway has to start thinking about Napoli and Ridone behind him. Just 2.2 seconds between Badaway and Napoli at the top of your shot, although there is Serge Doms in between them. And Ridone just 0.9 back from Napoli. We are focusing with 10 minutes still to go on the battle for the lead. Bit of smoke. We've got a car facing the wrong direction. And yeah, Mokulski has gone around Gregor for GT3 Poland. That's the car that was started by Adrian Lewandowski and was in 6th position. That's a very curious accident, just a big old lockup, and then got on the power, slightly overly excitable. So, over the line once more. Dubelli, Piget, 0.4 of a second between them. 3 seconds back is Badaway. Then Napoli and Ridone absolutely locked together for 4th position. Privitello, by the way, is still leading in Lamborghini Cup because they've suspended his drive-through penalty. So they believe that there may well have been a different situation. And this, the lead of the race. Side by side, is it? Not quite. Nice little tactic from Julien Piget, sitting on the right-hand side of the circuit to add a bit of doubt to Eli Dubelli. Won't necessarily be able to see the car in his mirrors, and so doesn't know where he is. But they are holding each other up now. And after the disappointment in the morning, Ibrahim Badaway is going to join this party and want a piece of the action. The more they start driving offline, the more they start defending from each other, the more they are going to enjoy a 3 battle. And then you've got Napoli and Ridone, who are only half a second between them, in 4th spot. There's still so much to go on. You really can't overtake through the S's here. And again, oh yes, a mistake from Eli Dubelli. That was clever driving by Julien Piget. He had no intention of overtaking there, but he put Dubelli off. Dubelli wasn't sure where Piget was, so waited 2 seconds to turn in, and he was offline when he did. Didn't have the grip, spun the car. That was incredibly clever from Julien Piget. And Eli Dubelli drops down to 5th position. But Badaway is now only 1.5 seconds. Look at that. He's never going to make a move there. It's an acceleration zone. You can't go side by side. It's incredibly narrow as well. But what you can do is make the other driver think that you're crazy. And that is exactly what Julien Piget did just then. Eli Dubelli would have looked in his mirrors and gone, oh, where is he? He must be alongside me, but I can't see him. And that is where he ended up falling off the circuit. Now we've got a battle for the lead, and we've got a battle for 3rd, because Ridone and Napoli are close to each other, and look at how close Piget and Badaway are. Krebs and Privitello have swapped positions for the lead in Lamborghini Cup. I wonder whether that was going to happen, and it's just happened. Look at how close Badaway is now. Penalised in race 1, down to 6th position after contact with Alban Veruti through Curva Grande. Off the podium. And I think it was off the podium for the first time all season for Badaway. No, I tell a lie. He missed out a few times in Spa as well. And actually retired at the Nürburgring. But at the moment he's losing points to a car and a team of drivers that are not in the championship fight. Gabriel Rindone is. Gabriel Rindone is in 4th. Badaway is up there in 2nd position. So at the moment he's losing points to a car that doesn't really matter to him. But at the same point, whilst he's no threat in the championship from Veruti and Piquet, he is losing points by being in 2nd rather than in the lead. There's a Napoli and Rindone. Another great result for that 60 car. As I said earlier, that win that they had in race 1 was only their 3rd podium of the year. Oh, Badaway's been off. Badaway's been off and now has to be really careful because he's been off on the grass. And he'll have dirty tyres, but that has let Julien Piquet off the hook for the moment. And how close now will Napoli get to Badaway? What a fantastic race we are seeing from our AM competitors. And that was a weird one. Traction control kind of half dealing with a situation, but Badaway almost overcorrecting what the traction control would have sorted out anyway. And so steered off the circuit. We've got a car slow. And just trying to work out who that is. We've had a spinner. Oh, that's Dubelli being reported as a spinner. This is car 77, so that's Hernandez Ortega, who's parked up. And that's a shame, because they were in the Lamborghini Cup fight as well. It's not particularly dangerous. We've got 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. Wow, look how quick Ibrahim Badaway has caught up to Julien Piquet. Piquet is struggling now, there's no doubt about it. He's made a big effort, I think, fighting with Elie Dubelli, and he may well have taken the best out of his Hankook tyres. One of the big things about jumping into a new championship is how the tyres behave across the full distance of a race. In no championship in the world can you really go flat out from start to finish. You are always kind of nursing the tyre to a degree. And I wonder whether Veruti and Piquet have taken too much out of that Hankook. Badaway was a little bit quiet on the first couple of... Well, we've had the safety car period, but he didn't star in the first couple of laps, did he? He saved the best till last. I think we are going to go on to the last lap, though, on the next time. Badaway has a look to the inside. Got to remember, I wonder if he saw what Piquet did. Piquet, clearly a very intelligent racing driver, to do what he did to Elie Dubelli. Oh no, Badaway, way too far back to try and find a way through there. I was a bit nervous that he was just going to send it. Does again there, that's really far back, and Piquet has left him room. Piquet could not get to the apex. That That should have ended up in an accident, but it hasn't. It's ended up in Ibrahim Badaway leading this race with one more lap to go. And will this allow Napoli also to get himself up onto the next step of the podium too? Round the final turn, onto the final lap for Ibrahim Badaway. Piquet in second position, and Napoli in third, our race one winner. In the big box of Boots and VDS Racing. They are a bit sad, really, to see the Coupons Vallelunga car down in 14th position after that puncture. Lamborghini Roma DL Racing, local team, leading their home race now with Ibrahim Badaway. Auto Vitesse running Verruti and Piquet. And this, therefore, would represent the first non-VRS win, but looking to the inside to try and get up to second position. Can't find a way through the first hairpin, but what about the left-hand hairpin? Dives to the inside, but can see that this time Piquet is intelligent. Piquet has it covered like he didn't last time. I don't think Napoli can get himself further up now. There's just no more opportunities as they come through the penultimate section of turns. But it is Ibrahim Badaway. He's won before in class, but he's never won overall. And he's the first man to see the checkered flag here in Vallelunga for race two. Badaway wins. Piquet, Verruti in second, and Napoli and Randazzo in third position. Our race one winners get another podium, and that really does mix things up for the championship. Here's Jürgen Krebs in the right cluster of things going on here. He's just lost a position, but Krebs is still leading our Lamborghini Cup. Second is Charlie Martin, who's had a great second stint, and she has found herself up in second position in this gaggle of cars that come to the line now. Krebs gets second, Charlie Martin gets second in class, and now just waiting for Privitello to confirm third position in class for the Lamborghini Cup, and they do. They still have the question mark over whether they overtook under yellow flags during the safety car period, in which case they will get a penalty, but that will be assessed after the race. Unbelievably close by the end there. Krebs, Martin, separated by 0.3 of a second in the Lamborghini Cup, with Jean-Francois Bruno actually losing out a position there. Ibrahim Badaway undoing all of the wrongs that happened in race one. He has taken the victory, and surely a big step towards that championship. Lost points to Gabriel Rindone in race one of the weekend, but has taken points away from him in this second race, with Rindone only in fourth. Dubelli ended up in fifth position after his spin. Mozolski also had a spin, didn't he? Ending up in sixth spot. But at the front of the field, that was fantastic. And fantastic by some new names to the championship. Piquet and Verruti. We obviously had Coupons and Vallelunga with a starring performance, and Meyerhouse and Dubelli ending up in fifth after leading the first part of the race. So Parc Fermé, as we had this morning, around the paddock area with the podium overlooking the paddock here. And this is the move that did it. I have to say, there was a huge truck-sized gap for Badaway to go down the inside there. I can only imagine that Piquet was trying to overcome the lack of grip by kind of doing the turning earlier on and triangulating the hairpin rather than doing a smooth turn, kind of stopping, getting it rotated and then get it back on the power like you kind of do with a front-wheel drive car. What you do when doing that is open the door, and Badaway said, yes, I'll have that, thank you very much. Not the same smiles from Napoli Randazzo that we saw in race one, but very happy Ibrahim Badaway. The third victory for Badaway, his first in the second race, however. And these two races do have different characters because, of course, in race one, it's one driver that qualifies. In the second race, it's a different driver that qualifies. And for the likes of Renaud Coupens, for instance, he's the man that qualified in race two and had a lot of pace. What's cool as well this weekend is you've also got the drivers that potentially are participating in the next race, able to kind of enjoy the AM and Lamborghini Cup races. There is Ibrahim Badaway. If the rumors are true, he has never raced a circuit race before in his life, before the start of this season, before June. And instantly has made a massive impression. Doing a little bit of arrive and drive karting was Ibrahim Badaway. Napoli and Randazzo. So the provisional results then. Badaway wins by 1.4 seconds over Piquet and Verruti, with Napoli Randazzo in third spot, just 0.4 of a second back by the end. Rindone in fourth position, with Elie Dubelli having his spin and dropping to fifth. A really great battle for the Lamborghini Cup between Krebs and Martin in the end, in 9th and 10th, with Kieron Lee and Bruno in 11th, and the Privitellios dropping down to 13th. Just two retirements after that first lap crash of Matic Bucevicius crashing into him. It could have been so much worse. Randazzo winning race one. Third in race two. Alban Verruti and Julien Piquet winning the GT4 European Championship and the French Championship. They could be a real threat come the World Finals next weekend. But Badaway will want to make sure that he finishes this incredible year that he's had with a proper result. And that was a proper move down the inside of Julien Piquet, who, as we said during the broadcast, has so much experience. And yet the door was left open for the Egyptian to come down the inside of him. There's Charlie Martin, who missed out on a win by 0.3 of a second behind Jürgen Krebs, and chatting with Krebs about the experience. There's Jason Keats to the right-hand side, Canadian. Now, of course, those that race in the full championship know each other quite well. So the Italians here and Badaway, they know each other. They've chatted, but the two Frenchmen who are just appearing in shot and disappearing out of shot again, new to the championship, so not necessarily knowing everybody to chat to. Just waiting for get these drivers onto the podium to celebrate a big day's action. They will be back in action for the 6th round of the championship on Thursday morning. Round 6, race 1 on Thursday, and then race 2, I think happens on Friday, although I don't actually have that. Oh, I do. There it is. Yes, on Friday. Badaway, Napoli, Randazzo, Piget, and Veruti.
Ma perché sempre l'italiano? Lui è egiziano. Sì, fa il film.
Yes, they were playing the Italian national anthem there because that is the team anthem rather than the Egyptian national anthem for Ibrahim Badaway. I'd have liked to hear the Egyptian national anthem. I don't know what it sounds like. Not one you usually hear on a motorsport podium. It's also why earlier on when we had Jürgen Krebs, and we'll have it again, Swiss driver, but German team. Ibrahim Badaway is absolutely hell-bent on making sure everybody knows where he is from. Actually, curiously, not with the Egyptian flag, or certainly not with the same flag as on the graphic there. So he was certainly not flying the Egyptian flag. I think he had a Palestinian flag. And that is why a very serious face on Ibrahim's face. I have to say, it's not a flag I know. Jason Keats, Charlie Martin, the Privatellios, Donovan in French, and Luciano Sanmarinian. And there's Jürgen Krebs once more. 2 out of 2 here in Vallelunga. on a happy Sunday for him.
Grazie ancora.
Frederica is the reason why there were dogs on the podium earlier on. It is her podium, it's her series, and she can bring her dogs if she wants to. The trophy's handed out to our drivers. There's Martin Rieber on the right-hand side, Liberati on the left. Sadly not racing today after destroying their car in a practice crash. We would expect to see them out in the next one, but we hope to see them out next Thursday. But they do run the Brutal Fish team and Charlie Martin and Jason Keats, so something to celebrate. That is it then for our AM and Lamborghini Cup competitors for round 5. They'll be back in action for round 6 next Thursday. But until then, we've got one more race for you. Round 5, race 2 of our Pro-Am and Pro categories. Coming up in just a few moments' time. We'll see you then.